Spread your legs, go across my breast, I beg. Want you to roll your belly, baby, right to the cantilly bed, till
Musiker-board. Ich bin in New York zusammen mit dem Chris von Warwick Framus. New York jetzt nicht unbedingt eine Adresse, wo man deutschen Hersteller vermuten würde, aber es gibt ein ganz tolles Stadtbüro und die Leute, die die Wand im Hintergrund sehen, die hat so ein bisschen was von dem, was wir auch aus Markneukirchen kennen. Ich wechsle jetzt auf Englisch, damit es auch ein Dialog wird und nicht nur ein Monolog. Next to me is Chris from the New York Custom Shop and thank you to having me here.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
And the first portion we're going to do is Chris is going to show us around of what they have here. And from what I can see, that's probably a good spot to look for Warwick Framus gear. Absolutely. If you want to have a selection. So he's going to show us around the custom shop, and then we sit together and talk about how the structures work here in the US.
So, hi, my name is Chris Kunitz. I'm the Artist Relations Manager and the manager here at Warwick Framus Custom Shop in New York City. And yeah, basically our goal here is to provide a large group of instruments. We generally deal just with stuff from Germany. We don't generally have the Pro Series or the rock-based stuff. We focus on the high-end instruments. Right now, probably in North America, we have more Warwick basses and Framus guitars than anywhere else in the country, certainly at this point. So we have a diverse group of instruments, generally try to have at least a few instruments from each category. So we've got these new thumb single cuts, the classic thumb basses, both neck through and bolt on, some nice Infinity, Katana, Dolphin instruments, some star basses here as well, including the new single cut. And the Streamer series as well, stage 2s right here, stage 1s. This is the 30th anniversary Streamer. A special edition from 2011, the LXs, Jazzmen, Double Bucks, and these are a couple artist series instruments as well that we have. In general, like I said, we do try to keep the stock instruments available for people to have a sort of baseline for when they're thinking about maybe a custom shop instrument or so on. So we try to have pretty much everything from every family. Over here is the bulk of our signature models that we have. So this is the Hellborg bass, Stuart Zender bass, German Survivor bass, Peanut, Adam Clayton, Steve Bailey, T.M. Stevens, and a few Corvettes back here. This is one of our favorite basses in the shop. This is a custom shop Streamer LX CV version, which is fully passive. We really, really like this bass a lot. It's a very, very cool instrument.
Is that the one that got introduced at the NAMM show?
This was introduced at
the standard requirements, like a pretty good high radius on the fretboard.
Yes, there's a radius. It's similar to jazz bass. P-bass type profiles, the neck somewhere in between the two. But it does have a radius fretboards. Generally, most of our fingerboards in the past have been pretty flat. And also features fully passive electronics, so it's more like kind of an old school vibe, but still with all the modern amenities in terms of the construction. So yeah, we're really, really happy with that one. It's really fun to play. And then we also have, walk over here, we also have all the Framus guitars, and again we try to do the same thing with the Framus that we do with the Warwick, which is to have the basic families of instruments. Whether there's some of them are custom shop, most of them are fairly standard instruments to show what we're capable of, both with the custom shop and with the standard instruments as well. We try to keep most of the stuff here within the last couple years, as our features have really, really just shot up in terms of the amount of features that we have and the attention to detail that we're doing these days. Framus has always had a reputation for that, but we've really taken it to a new level in the past couple years. So we try to have most of the instruments that are here in the shop that we can show to players, that we can show to customers, retailers, etc., to be the really top-end stuff. So these instruments will feature, this is one of my favorites here. This is a Diablo Supreme with a nice burgundy blackburst finish on it. And you can see that we do have, in the newer instruments, we have the invisible fret technology that we have here, which might be kind of hard to see there, but you can see that the tang of the fret doesn't really reach the end of the fingerboard there. And that's a new feature that we do with a very, very complicated, complex fret machine. I recommend going to the website and checking out how we do that. There's a pretty detailed series of videos on both the factory and the methodology that we use to get those frets in there the way we do. In addition, the finishes these days with the UV lacquer, the nitrocellulose, is a thing of the past now. We're using this new UV lacquer that's super hard, super thin, and just really makes these gorgeous finishes pop out here. So we've got the basic families of instruments. Again, we're going to have these are a few Diablos here. We have a Diablo Progressive, Diablo Supreme, Diablo Supreme X with the tremolo and bolt-on. We have the families of Panteras here, Pantera Legacies over here. We have Pantera Supremes with the nice maple tops on them. Pantera Studio Supremes as well. And then some more stripped down instruments like this Diablo that we have right here from last year. Really nice example of that.
That's a cool one.
Yeah. It's just the regular Diablo. We used to call it the Diablo Pro, but now it's just the Diablo. Some 7 strings. We try to have a couple left-handed instruments in here as well. Both Framus and Warwick, we sort of pride ourselves in providing left-handed instruments for no extra charges, make them pretty convenient to people. I've always been favored by left-handed players. We've got the Mayfield series over here, showing from this side. A bunch of different Mayfields that we have. Mayfield Customs, Mayfield Pros. This is a beautiful example of that. Big fan of that one. Again, these are all newer with the invisible frets, UV lacquering. Very, very super playable, nice guitars. And we have the Earl Slick models here as well. These are quite popular among players. They're really unique, eye-popping instruments. This one is brand new. We just got this in a couple days ago. We've got the new Flying V Wolf Hoffman guitar here, which we are really, really proud of. It's a super fun guitar to play. Very light, streamlined, and just the total blast to play. It really sounds ripping. This is a distressed version of the same guitar as well. And then we've got the beautiful AK 1974s that we have here. These are all really, really nice tops, all again pretty new versions of these instruments. So again, in addition to the guitars that we have here, we have the full range of Warwick amplification as well. We try to have sort of a modular system here where we can have different amplifiers played through different cabinets, the combos, etc., to give people different options of things to try out. And they've been really, really great. This new line of amplifiers has just been really blowing people away. Very simple, very clean, very crisp, and just people have been having a lot of fun with it. So
the new digital version that you brought to NAM in January?
The LW, the 1,000 watt? The 1,000 watt, we're still waiting for our particular shipment of it, but they should be here soon. Yeah, we're still waiting for that.
But they are out in the wildlife already?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the Warwick showroom, I've got Fred with me, who is a Warwick customer in the US. And being German myself, with a company that builds basses and guitars in Germany, what does it need to convince an American that has all the bass history in its own country to like and buy Warwick basses?
Construction, woods, and sound.
And you specify that a bit more. Is the sound like killing you, or the options are that big?
I just like the growl, and it's different from anything else that I've played or owned. I have Gibsons, I have Fenders, I have Epiphones. And what introduced me to Warwick was we went to the Hippie Fest here on Long Island 5-6 years ago, and Jack Bruce was there. And he was the main reason I went there. He is the reason I play bass. He's probably the reason that a lot of people play bass. He was the reason that I was allowed to say, well, gee, I just don't have to work with the drummer. I can step out. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who would agree with me there. And he was playing a Warwick thumb. And I happen to like the sound of it, but I also have all of his recordings, and I noticed the sound was different, and I liked the sound. So the first bass I bought was a '06 thumb bolt-on, completely different sound from anything I have. Pretty much my go-to bass, my rehearsal bass. I love the curvature of the body, fits the gut nice. People say it's heavy. I don't think so. I was introduced to a guitar strap. I don't remember the name. Thought I had it with me, but it stretches. It takes all the weight off of your shoulder. So weight is a non-issue, and I'm a 145-pound guy. The neck is fine for me. I have small hands. Got a bit of arthritis. I am no Stanley Clark or Victor Wooten, but I get the job done. And it was just the overall sound. About a year ago, I played the new Star Bass hollow body. Absolutely fell in love with the looks, but also fell in love with the sound. Had more of a growl, and I really like the growl. And I actually bought one of those. I found an old new as advertised, the Babinga model. Got it at a very reasonable price. And I have coming on the way a thumb neck through, different sound from the bolt on, and again, love the wood, love the look. And at the end of the day, Warwick's, I have 3 different sounds now. I've switched off from flat wounds to half rounds to round wounds, and depending on my mood, yeah, it'll change the tone of all of them. On the Star Bass, I only use the round wounds. I tried a set of flat wounds. It just wasn't the sound that I wanted. On my bolt-on, I have half rounds, and I like those, and we'll see what happens with the neck through.
So at the end of the day, you hear a tone, and your heart and the brain says, go for it.
Absolutely.
And that's about it. That's what the decision contains,
yes,
more or less.
Yes, and different from anything else I own, and I'm not putting down any of the other manufacturers. My jazz bass has its own sound. I got a 71 EB3, which has its own sound. I've got an EB2D, which I brought here just a couple of weeks ago because the guys wanted to hear the Mudbucker. Again, different sound. The Jack Cassidy bass, different sound. And I have a Les Paul bass. Again, different sound. Every one of them sound different. But at the end of the day, for me, I love stained woods or natural. I only have one bass that's painted. I was just always a stain lover. And neck dive is not an issue for me. It never has been. The only thing I found out with any of the hollow bodies, like maybe it's because of my shape, a little belly.
Come on, that's me. The belly one is me.
The bass, the entire bass wants to bend away from you.
Okay.
My cure for that, take a good-sized washcloth, roll it up, wrap it around your belt, and it bends the bottom of the body out, so now it's much more comfortable to play. But at the end of the day, it's construction, finish, the woods that they use, the look of the woods, and tone.
And tone again,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back with Chris, and now we're going to talk about the administrative part of getting a German-built bass or guitar over to the US, what you do to individual customers, and also the way you try to work together with distributing chains or bigger stores.
Sure. So essentially right now, the Warwick Custom Shop here in New York is a showroom that customers, potential artists, and artists that are already on the roster, as well as any normal individual customers want to come in and purchase instruments, try out instruments, so on and so forth. We do have a distributor here in the U.S. called U.S. Music, and they're responsible for getting the instruments to individual retailers here in the U.S. So that's how the distribution works with them. However, you can get stuff directly through us, and essentially, whether it's through us or through a retailer, the general process with the custom shop instrument is that generally someone would go on the website, look at all the different options we have, which is growing every couple months. We add some new different woods to the potential custom shop options. We also add different types of finishes, different features like radius fingerboards, that kind of thing as well. And it's important to go on the website and check that stuff out. Then you can give us a call. You can give us all the specifications of a particular instrument that you're interested in. We can do some consultation with you about different things like certain woods and how they affect the tone, certain colors, how they would look on certain darker or lighter woods, and different options that you might have. We can walk you through that process. At that point, once we decide what the actual specifications of the instrument are going to be, we get that sent over to Germany. They'll look at the specifications, make sure there's nothing that seems strange to them or seems like it might not make sense or produce a different tone than you would like or something like that. So they just check it over, make sure. Exactly. It's to make sure that it makes sense, essentially, as a custom shop instrument. And then they'll come back to us with a quote. Once that quote comes back to us, we call you up, we go over the instrument one more time, any changes that the custom shop suggested to make, any changes that we here think we should be made, and then we agree on the price of the instrument. We have a deposit that's taken at that point for usually about half of the final cost of the instrument, and then from then on we'll build it for you. Generally, it's been taken about, on the simpler instruments, around 6 to 8 weeks, on the more complex instruments up to 10 weeks. But still, industry-wide, that's generally a very, very short period of time.
Yeah, leaves room. What about if the customer runs into problems with the instrument?
Certainly,
like parts that need to be shipped over?
Absolutely, yes. We have, here in the U.S., at the custom shop, we have a stock of pretty much any of the normal everyday sort of hardware stuff, as well as most of the MEC parts, pickups, preamps, potentiometers, that sort of thing. And if there's something that we don't have, we can order it and get it within a couple weeks, especially shipped over. Generally, the process is everything will come here to New York first from Germany. We'll look it over and make sure it's the correct part for you. We'll make sure if it's an instrument that it's made the trip safely and that everything's fine, it has all the right documentation with it, and then we'll send it out to you directly from New York.
Okay. How frequent do you get a call from a potential customer that says, I've seen that guy on stage, I liked his instrument, it was a Warwick, can you tell me what it was?
Absolutely, yeah, that happens pretty frequently, both whether it's a print ad that somebody sees, whether it's a music video, that kind of thing. That happens frequently, both with us and through retailers and through the distributor. I often get asked by members of our distribution team that have gotten requests from customers, and that's part of the reason why the endorsement program is so important to us, because we do offer really, really unique options to instruments, and having artists that are out there that are in front of a lot of people playing them is really important. It's brought a lot of customers to us, so quite happy with that.
The the interview I was just doing with one of your Warwick US customers, he's sort of had the same history than I had myself, playing, being young, forgetting about music, restarting at 40 plus, completely falling into it, and doing more than ever. With the price range Warwick has, the regular customer needs to have sort of a specific status.
Sure.
He's well above the Mexican Fender stuff or whatsoever. Does that help in talking to the customer, because he suddenly knows what he wants? He has perhaps 20 years of experience listening to music, so he looks for he knows what tone he has.
Yes, yeah. Generally, most of the customers that are looking for a high-end custom shop instrument, even before they come to us, have thought about it pretty clearly. I mean, they have a pretty good vision of what they would like, in their head, and we just kind of take them through that process again and make sure that they've thought of different outcomes of things like wood choices and aesthetics, everything across the board, and just kind of guide them through that process. But most of the time, people have done a lot of their own research because it is a big investment. And it's definitely, absolutely 100% worth the investment. Everybody that we've made custom shop instruments before has been blown away. Their expectations have really been exceeded in my experience. So it is something that, yeah, generally it's easier to deal with people that have got something really, really solidified in their mind. It's certainly not an investment for beginners where there are some exceptions with that if somebody likes it specifically for the way that it looks. But generally most people that we deal with are experienced and they know what they're talking about. But if you don't and it's something that you're interested in, we can walk you through every process, even if you don't know what any of the parts are called, and you're still just, even if you're just curious about it, we can walk you through it.
Did you have the variety where you sort of turned the whole instrument upside down, and when talking to the customer, that he came with the sort of the wrong instrument in mind for his needs?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, through that process, we've gone from one family of instruments. Let's say somebody at first wanted a Corvette, and now at the end they're getting a katana or a dolphin because of certain things that we're talking about in terms of the tone of the instrument, in terms of the balance, the way that it's going to feel, the way that it's going to look on stage. Through that process, things can change really dramatically, for sure. We can start with something on an entirely different end of the spectrum that we're going to wind up with. But that's fun. I mean, it's fun for us to go through that process. Everybody here really loves to talk about instruments. That's why we're here. So,
yeah. And at least from what I've seen at the factory, I would also say that Warwick and Framus and Guitars is able to build the same guitar 10 times in a row. Mm-hmm. So if you felt one, you like it, it's very likely that you get one that matches exactly the same level. Mm-hmm. Because me personally, I'm more the guy that would pick an instrument off the wall, mm-hmm. likes it, and buys it. Mm-hmm. And there might be a price tag on it in the 5-digit dollar range. Mm-hmm. I would still prefer not to order it, but to buy it.
Sure.
So part of your job is to take that fear away that when the instrument arrives, the customer is going to like it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the main reasons that we, in the first part of the process of bringing CNC technology and now expanding into this new neck machine that we have, whether it's the radius of the fingerboard, the radius of the neck itself, the shape of the neck, anything like that, we're pretty much as consistent as you could possibly be, down to a very, very, very small margin. You will really not notice any difference between two instruments unless we specify whether it's an extra slim neck, a wide neck, that sort of thing. Those are going to be consistent within those families. But basically, anytime that you're talking about a certain specific instrument, let's say, for example, a streamer, stage 1, those instruments are going to be incredibly consistent across the board. Not only in addition to the way that they're constructed, but also in terms of the weight of the wood, the density of the wood, the tonal qualities of the wood. We also try to make it extremely consistent so that we can get as close to two instruments sounding the same from the same time period as possible.
Okay, Chris, thank you for those inside views. I'll leave you a link for your customers. Great. To what we did today, but also to the footage that I have from the factory, which shows all of the process. Definitely. Pretty good. And that's it. Bye-bye from Warwick Framus, New York. Bye.